Hello, good evening, good morning, good day, wherever you may be. I hope it's been a wonderful Saturday, Sunday, weekend for you all. It has been far too long, honestly. But, such is life, such is the nature of the beast. How is everybody doing? I hope we're doing fantastic. What's up, Brimstone? Dia? What's up? All right, well, no need to... honestly, not really anything to no burying of the lead or anything like that. Went and watched Jason Statham's new film Shelter, and it was a very, very safe movie. It was incredibly safe. I will be doing some spoilers tonight. I won't go heavy like I normally do, because honestly, there's not too terribly much to actually spoil, film and writing wise, and it I'm kind of bummed. I'm kind of bummed that there's not more to spoil. Like with Working Man, that movie was freaking fantastic, and the general formula that Statham's movies follow is still there. He still follows it. But they've changed the ratio, I think, is probably the best way for me to put that, because the general I guess like the general formula that they follow, the one that they tend to stick to is first we get introduced to Statham's character. In this film, he's called Mason, and we get introduced to the character. He's usually trying to just live quietly, live peacefully. He's a construction worker or a fisherman. In this case, he's not doing anything. He lives out on a small abandoned lighthouse island. The lighthouse hasn't worked in years. Stays out there, and that's what he's doing at the beginning when we're introduced to him here. And his usual formulas, the usual formula for his films, is about the first 10-15 minutes we get introduced to his character and the one or two people that he cares about, right? That he actually has some type of, not even necessarily emotional attachment to, but almost like a sense of responsibility towards, right? He lets very few people into his life because he doesn't want him to get hurt because of his past as a CIA operative or MI6 operative or Royal Marines, or maybe he's on the run from a corrupt bureaucrat or whatever. This one takes some of the best elements of Jason Statham movies and sprinkles them into a, like I said, a weird movie. His ratio is usually 10 to 15 minutes we get introduced, and then the next hour is him killing people. He's eliminating threats, and then at the end of the movie, justice is served, and he, that he goes back to his life that he has fought so hard for, that he just wants peace and quiet. He has been, so with Working Man, he was trying to rescue his In Working Man, he's trying to rescue. I don't think it's his boss. I'm trying to remember. He's trying to rescue his boss's daughter, right? She gets wrapped up in some stuff, and she's like an all-star athlete. She's a really straight and it's like she's a straight shooter. She's a good kid. And she ends up getting snatched, and because some elitist sees her and is like obsessed with her and wants her, right? So Statham's character in that movie, pretty much like for the whole movie, he's just killing people and gathering intel and then killing more people and gathering intel. And then he gets to the end after he's killed everybody that got in the way, and then he takes girl home, right? That's pretty formulaic for a Jason Statham movie. This movie, very much, that didn't happen. In the first 10 minutes, so before I get into like spoilers, I gave this movie a 3 out of 5. It wasn't poorly written, but this is one of the first Jason Statham movies where I was like, okay, when are we gonna get to him doing the Jason Statham thing? And it kept stalling. So gave it a 3 out of 5. It's not a typical Jason Statham film. It isn't. It doesn't follow that formula at all. And whereas, the formula I just described is pretty, it's been pretty solid. I mean, you can usually bank on a Jason Statham film giving you that. This didn't. This was probably, an hour of him and the girl. He very much takes on like a protective uncle role, and that makes sense when we get into the spoilers. But he takes on this protective uncle role, and usually like the kid is either kidnapped or he's squirreled the kid away and is getting rid of the threat so the kid can go back to living life, because he doesn't want the kid to go through the insanity or like the hardships that he had to, because he's like, no child deserves that. But this one, yeah, it's like, it's an hour with a couple of with a few interspersed things, and there is some conflict, but for the most part, I mean, at one point she quite literally, hold on, we'll save that for spoilers. It's just this very much turned a very good formula inside out, and it should not have done that. It shouldn't have done it, because this is a Jason Statham film, and people are they go to Jason Statham films for Jason Statham. So this is the trailer. I'm gonna keep it at about mid-level. So
does the name Michael Mason ring any bells?
The trailer is like showing you pretty much all the action that happens in the movie.
Mason isn't just an assassin. He's a precision instrument.
This is
He was one of the first of elite operatives.
Then what happened?
Oh, yeah. That's the other thing.
I bring you supplies week after week, yet you never leave here. Why is that?
Oh, by the way, she was not supposed to go up there. Her uncle told her not to do it. And she did it anyway.
Most people just say thank you.
Don't ever come up here again.
We have a retinal match.
Send them.
What's happening?
Don't make a sound. Don't come out until I come for you.
Weapons free. Kill target on sight.
This is probably the coolest part of the whole movie. And it's in the first, like, 25 minutes.
Alpha team, come in.
So they've set all this up. Statham is obviously still very capable.
Who is that?
The subplot in this movie is actually really, really fantastic. We'll talk about it more after the trailer ends, but there's a reason. There's a reason that he rolled the body over, not outside of just looking for extra ammo.
Who are these guys?
Booked the reservation with baggage.
You need to throw everything you've got at him.
Are they going to arrest you?
It's not the police I'm worried about. The people that are doing this. I broke the only rule that matters, didn't I?
His profile's been altered.
This
Our target is not who we thought. I want him taken in alive.
I need a way out for her. She's just a kid who was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
See?
Come on.
that's usually
No country, no badge.
You're gone. Not gone. Unshackled.
oh, that's not the line of the movie. Okay, so quite literally, you saw pretty much all the action that's in the film, and I'm just really surprised at how safe. Again, like that's the word, ironically, that keeps coming to mind with this film. So we're gonna get into spoilers now. So that storm that you saw, that is the storm that her and her uncle got caught up in. The uncle gets pulled down with the ship, and she gets caught in the netting. Statham, wrenches her free and takes her back to his lighthouse cabin with his dog. Nurses her ankle. She's like, "Who are you? Like, my uncle said you never leave here. This lighthouse doesn't work. What's happening?" And he's like, "Your uncle's dead." And she cries for like 10 minutes. And that's the most emotion you see out of her, really, in this whole movie. So throughout this film, you got to understand, this like 11-year-old girl has watched her uncle die. She heard rather, that beautiful German Shepherd. Yeah, moving on. Sad times. But okay, she's an orphan. Her uncle is now dead. She's being dragged all over Hell's Half Acre, and there's no one else to take care of her. She doesn't have anybody else. She's been shot at, kidnapped, or attempted kidnapped, rather, chased by the police, chased by assassins, chased by elite extraction teams, just pulled every which way but Sunday. And the girl doesn't show very much emotion throughout the whole film, and she also doesn't play a character who is in shock. And I think that was probably one of the harder things for me to accept, because somebody her age would have had, at this point, multiple meltdowns. And you can say, oh, well, her uncle. So this is why Statham takes over protective uncle role, because he served with her uncle in the Royal Marines. That's why the uncle is the one bringing the supplies. Because it's like the uncle was like one of 3 people that Mason trusted. Well, he dies, and the niece survives. Well, now Statham is like, okay, I gotta take care of this kid. And they don't even really bond while they're there. But suddenly he takes on this very protective role. They play chess. She beats him. They talk. She names the dog because he hadn't named the dog. And they sort of just go on doing really nothing. And she's like, why can't we call somebody? Her ankle gets infected. Her ankle that got tangled up in the netting got infected. And she's like, let's just call somebody, bring supplies. And he's like, no, I'll go do it. So he goes into town. He avoids all of the cameras that are in stores and everything like that, right? He's getting first aid things, and he gets her a new set of clothes, pair of pants and a sweater, right? Well, he gets caught on a live stream thing. Like these girls are uploading or live streaming to like Instagram or whatever social media app. Well, the subplot of this film is about how the British government, the UK, is investigating the head of MI6 and the Prime Minister for using it. I forget exactly what the acronym stood for, but it was like Total Human Engagement Activity or something like that, and it's shortened to THEA, right? THEA. And essentially, the intelligence community is collecting information on every citizen of Britain, right? So it has access to every phone call, every text, every social media post, every camera, every webcam, everything. It can see everybody at all times. Hence why Statham is staying on this island. Because you find out he's in hiding. Well, he gets flagged, but it's obviously the flag that comes up. They're like, we have a retinal match. Well, the flag that comes up is for a wanted terrorist, and it's clearly, like, you can look and see they are not the same guy, but they go after him anyway, thinking he's this terrorist. So the only reason he gets caught is because the girl had an infection after she broke her ankle or sprained it real bad, like the cuts from the nets and stuff like that. So they give her the medicine. That must be the fastest acting medicine too, because she's fine within like 45 minutes. But movie time, of course. Well, the Alpha team who you saw land, right? Where is that at? I don't even know. The Storm. Okay, there's the Alpha team, right? So he's booby-trapped his island. And this was honestly like the best part. This was Jason Statham doing Jason Statham things, which is what we showed up for. I was like, oh man, like this is going to be the most Jason Statham of Jason Statham movies. And it actually slowed way down after this. Because they show up, they try to take the girl, Jessie is her name, and Mason takes them all out, right? And then he's like, okay, I can't go back to this island. And Jessie's like, just come with me and we can have a normal life. And he's like, no, I got to stop the people that are behind this. Well, it's the whole intelligence community, you would think, but no, it's just the evil MI6 man who, if you guys ever watched the first Underworld, the actor who plays Victor is he's the bad guy in this. He's goes and sits down with the Prime Minister, and she looks at him and says, hey, I need a sacrificial lamb, and we can put you back in the shadows where you operate best. And he's like, perfect, let's do it. So he's like, no, not gone, unshackled. That was actually talking about him, the former MI6 director, who was replaced by Roberta, his very capable. You saw her. She was the one who was like, I want him alive. Whoops. So she replaces. I keep calling him Victor. So she replaces previous MI6 guy as the interim head of MI6. And it's very interesting because Statham is essentially the only good guy in this film. Everybody else, honestly, he's like the only man in this film outside of, the uncle dies at the beginning. And then he goes to some old contacts from his days in the service, but they're only in the film for like a few minutes. Even the other assassin, their on-screen time together is very, very short. it basically focuses on Mason and Jesse and their relationship. And so with that classic formula, that classic Statham formula of, you know, the 5-minute intro, the 10-minute setup, the catalyst for whatever it is for why he has to leave his quiet life happens, and then it's an hour of just him kicking ass and taking names. Yeah, that didn't happen here. He's very reserved. It's a very safe movie, which was very surprising. It isn't boring. Thank God. The writing is decent enough. The subplot with the whole Thea and the UK government spying on its people and them continuing to use Thea even though they're under criminal investigation for illegally collecting information and what is the word when you watch people monitoring? No, not spying, not monitoring. Surveilling citizens of the UK, including Scotland and Northern Ireland, right? So all of this is like looped into Thea in this huge, it's basically a huge database, and it keeps track of everybody. And then at some point there's this, early on, there's this subcommittee meeting where they are talking when he's still the MI6 director. They're like, you and the Prime Minister have quite literally made a list of everybody that you think could be a threat or a problem, right? They've essentially made like a kill list, or like a high threat list of British citizens. Wild. And you know, very
Supply.
very hitting home on some stuff, methinks. But ooh, look, there's Alpha Team. Freaking don't get me started. Just don't get me started. So this is the only other time she shows emotion. So this is about an hour and 10 minutes into the movie. And she finally breaks down. She finally shows some emotion. She finally reacts to the situation happening to her. And again, before this, it wasn't like she was in shock. I mean, this 11-year-old girl is literally, she's pointed multiple weapons at multiple people, right? Because she wants to protect Mason. She never pulls the trigger. But she's like begging, she's like, please don't, please stop. She's talking to at one point, the assassin that has been sent after them by evil MI6 Victor, she literally has the weapon, she's got the weapon on him, and she's like, please just don't hurt, like, please let him go, right? And then, of course, trained assassin killer, like, looks at her, and then grabs the gun from her, throws her across the room, and then Statham has to grab a nail gun and shoot him with a nail gun, and only gets him in the arm, and then they gotta run, because he's now got his gun back. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm very confused this whole time, because even when she finds out that Statham was going to try and leave her with like one of his buddies, well, his buddy has cancer and doesn't have very long. And her mom died of cancer, and so she's the one that tells Statham that his friend has cancer, because her mom was taking the same medication right before she died, and she didn't last very long. And now Statham is like, well, shit, there goes another person, you know, that so Mason is his list of people he can trust is growing ever shorter, right? Well, while they are at his buddy's house, the assassin shows up, and Statham and him, like, he gets Mason knocks the gun away from, his name is, ironically, the assassin sent after them is called Workman. So he knocks the weapon out of Workman's hands. They are basically in a knife fight. He's got a sharpened stick, and Workman has got a K-bar. And they're sort of like tussling it out, and then, you know, the knives get knocked out or whatever. Workman has a screwdriver and is going to try and shove it through Mason's eye, and that's when she goes and picks up Workman's gun and points it at him. And she's like, don't kill him. Like, you don't have to hurt him. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, girl, this man is that he does not care. You cannot reason with this man. He has a mission. He's been given an order, and he intends to follow it. And like, obviously, she's an 11-year-old girl. She doesn't understand that. But even in that moment, she doesn't panic. She doesn't scream. She doesn't cry. She doesn't beg. She's very monotone. And so through this whole movie, she is literally just kind of there. And then she finally shows some emotion at the end where she breaks down and she cries. I am sorry. Either her uncle, who, again, Mason, Statham's character, knows because they served together in the British Royal Marines. Either her uncle, like, literally trained her to be, I don't know, a sociopath. But she even admits that she's quite literally, like, when Mason hands her a rifle, he's like, have you ever shot a gun before? And she's like, I shot squirrels with an air rifle. And Mason's like, good enough. And I'm like, no, it's not. That's not the same thing. But anyway, so her uncle clearly wasn't like training her for a life of espionage and, you know, running for your life from trained assassins from MI6. So the fact that this girl has shown no emotion whatsoever after being quite literally drowned, shot at, dragged across the entire United Kingdom, thrown off of docks, thrown into vehicles, dragged, nearly kidnapped like 3 times, pulled by her hair, brought into a nightclub where she's literally watching people get gunned down in front of her and stabbed and whatnot. She is not freaking out at all. And I'm like, the whole time I'm sitting there and I'm like, either this 11-year-old is completely oblivious to everything, or she's a sociopath. It's like one of the two. Because she isn't acting like someone who is in shock. She's still making comments. She's still playfully bantering. She's still engaging with Mason and the other people around them. And she's like told Mason that she wants to, like, the two of them can go and live a normal life as niece and uncle. And he's like, no, because these bad people, like, these people will come after us. They will come after you. Your safety is the only thing that matters, right? Because he didn't have anything to live for. And she sort of like gave him that purpose, right? Because again, he had to step into that uncle role when her uncle died, bringing him supplies. So he feels this sense of obligation and steps into that uncle role. Well, I'm just, again, I totally understood the motivation. I get where everything is. It all like lines up, but she was just kind of there. She never really like sold me on being a terrified 11-year-old. Like, Jason Statham should not have to come up and put his hand on your shoulder and say, I know you're scared, but you have to listen to me. So that I know that you're like, because here's the thing. She didn't look scared. She didn't look confused. She looked like she was ready to go. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what? This girl, like, must have zero, and I mean zero awareness of what is going on around her. Like, there is something like missing, and it's the fact that she is supposed to be playing a terrified 11-year-old girl who is clinging to Mason as like her lifeline because she has nobody and nothing else. But like, she doesn't act like it. And so he finally, like, we're probably an hour and 15 minutes into the movie when he finally gets her to a safe house. And it was at that point, like, I was like, man, this is a very different formula. And it also changed the tone of the overall movie because he was very controlled, very safe, very withheld. Like, it's ironic that one of the lines is unshackled because he felt very shackled this whole movie. And then we get to the end, all this buildup, we get to evil MI6 Victor. He takes out the bodyguards. You don't see it happen. Victor just looks out his window and the bodyguards are down, and he turns around and there's Mason. And they're talking about how 10 years ago, you failed to follow orders. You broke the one rule that Black Kite, that's what the program was called, that Black Kite cares about. And evil MI6 Victor is like, come stand beside me. We can make Black Kite, like, I've been given full immunity. Like, we can take Black Kite up to the heights that it was supposed to be. And Mason is just kind of looking at him, and evil MI6 Victor is like, he was like, join me, like, we can do this. And then Mason is like, 10 years ago I didn't pull the trigger because of you, but now I'm gonna have to. And then he pulls the trigger. I mean, we're talking the killing of the ultimate bad guy in this movie. That scene lasted maybe 2 minutes and 12 seconds. And it just pulls the trigger, and then the screen goes to black, and then it goes to her sitting in a cafe in Spain. Yeah, that was kind of it. And I was like, I just kind of sat there and I was like, okay, well, Thea is still, so this is supposed to be 3 months later. Thea is still operational. For some reason, Roberta, the strong female black lady who overtook MI6 for after, evil MI6 Victor got sacrificially lambed by female prime minister, she's just kind of chilling in a cafe. Thea is still active, and somehow they have access to a camera in Spain. And it's like there were so many elements of this movie that were so incredible and exceptional, and it really felt like we took 3 different movies and put them together. And I would have liked any of those movies individually, and even together, it didn't feel contrived, it didn't feel lazy, and it wasn't boring. But it was so different from the normal Jason Statham formula that I was caught off guard. And so it took me out of the film a little bit, because she was still there. We're still dragging her around with us. We are not really putting in much of an effort to get this girl away. And I was just, like I said, it was a really surprising change, and it made the movie very, very safe. I don't think there's any cussing in this movie. And Statham films usually have, not like an exorbitant amount of swearing, but like definitely like a forcefulness behind them. So this was very much like watching Jason Statham do like a fatherly protective role. And because that is not what I was expecting, it threw me off. It's a good movie. You can definitely go check it if you want. I gave it a 3 out of 5. I thought this one was going to get like a 4.5. I think I gave Workman like a 4.8 out of 5. The Working Man, sorry. I gave Working Man like a 4.8 or a 4.85 out of 9 out of 5. Jeez. Yeah, this one is a solid 3. It's not a typical Statham movie. It's not a typical action movie. It doesn't try to be Taken, and thank God for that, because a lot of movies have tried to rip off Taken, and it just doesn't work. But yeah, Statham knows what he's doing. He's very capable in this film. I will say I prefer the traditional Statham formula. That being said, it's not a waste of your time or your money to go see this one. This is probably the first Statham movie that I won't go rewatch in theaters. I'll just, when it hits DVD, I'll probably go pick it up. But it is, I will say, it is the epitome of beware the old man in a game, beware the old man in the profession where men usually die young. He definitely, he nails that. But yeah, overall, like I said, the writing is solid. Statham delivers per usual. The rest of the cast does a really good job. Jesse's character, I think if there had been a little bit more reaction from her, any emotion. I'm not saying she had to dump herself down on the ground and weep, but anything. I would have taken anything. I would have taken gasps. I would have taken covering her face. Something. Anything. Whatever that might be. But yeah, she just sort of stood, like I said, she was just kind of there. So I wish that had worked out differently. That would probably be my one gripe. And like I said, the subplot for Thea and the UK government, surveilling and monitoring and cataloging its own citizens and getting caught and getting in trouble for it. That's a massive, that could be a whole film on its own. I would have loved to watch that film too. Statham having to fight this Black Kite, secret operations team or unit that he literally helped. He was the first one he helped create it and turn it into what it is. I would have loved to watch that one. And, him protecting a young girl from these demons from his and her uncle's past that, popped up and are attempting to eliminate him and take her out, or at the very least turn her on him. I would have watched that one too. And we got all three of those movies, but we only got part of each one of those movies in this one movie. So it was very very interesting. But it's just, I didn't get enough meat from any one of the stories. So this movie actually left me wanting more, which I suppose is a good thing. But like I said, it's a very safe movie. Pun intended, I suppose. But yeah, solid 3 out of 5. You can definitely go give it a watch. You won't be you shan't be disappointed, I shall say. Let's see who else showed up. Oh, bonjour, a little bit faster. Fear FEMA, what's going on? Hello, Sunflower Mad. Legionist, what's up? What's up? Jose Taco. You didn't even know Statham had a movie out. Well, yes, he do. Yes, he do. Hello, Maka. What's going on? How many times did she get hit in the head? Concussion. Oh, yeah. No, she got hit. You're right. She got hit in the head a lot. I didn't even think about that. She legitimately... Man, at least 5 times? At least, significant strikes to the head? Yeah, I mean, if you're saying the reason she was, acting listless is because of a concussion, I don't think so, because, honestly, some of those hits, she should definitely been dead. But I don't think so. She wasn't acting like someone with a concussion who is, out of sorts. Because, again, she's not... She didn't, I don't know. She wasn't acting like somebody who, I've seen plenty of people with concussions. I've had multiple concussions. I've seen plenty of people in shock. I've been in shock. She was not, I don't know. She wasn't, she wasn't annoying. She wasn't like a bad character, but she was just kind of there. And I wish there had been more from her so we could have actually seen like that contrast of Jason's stoic masculinity being the protective uncle or like father figure for this little girl. But she was very stoic throughout the whole movie as well, and so we didn't really get that contrast. And I don't know, it just gave a very weird feeling to the movie. I don't know how else to put it. Like, I'm quite literally at a loss for words how to describe it. I don't know. I wish like I said, I wish she was more human. Like, the idea is that behind these, elite spec ops individuals is they operate at a level that most humans cannot maintain. And she very much is able, she like keeps up with them, which is just insane. So I don't know. Join me. Together we can rule the galaxy. I mean, essentially, that's what Victor was saying. I know his name's not Victor in the movie, but like, I swear I can only see him as Victor. He even does like the same head movements and stuff like that. It's crazy. Yes, it very much breaks immersion because it is just someone who has just lost their uncle and has been in somebody who has drowned, lost their only living relative, been shot at, been dragged off, had to flee all over, the country, gets snatched up again, gets given a new identity and put on a boat with strangers. That's the other thing. He literally puts her on a boat with two guys from, this one guy that he knows from his time, who is like an underworld dude. And, Mason's like, how do you think you've been allowed to operate? Suggesting that Mason's character has like helped them. And I'm just, he literally tosses her down onto a boat from this guy, and just trusts that he'll do what he says. And I'm just like, woof, we're being a bit cavalier with this girl's life all of a sudden when we said, I care about your safety. And I get it. You don't have very many options, but like, gosh dang, you had no guarantee that was going to go the way you hoped. But they take her to where they do what they say they're going to do. They smuggle her out of the UK and get her to Spain. And it's just bizarre. Like, that part, when he actually did that, I was like, no freaking way. But then it's so interesting because after she gets put on the boat, he quite literally turns into Jason Statham and just starts like beating people with chains and pipes and stuff. And I was like, yes, this is what I was waiting for. So again, the movie is very, very safe. It's well written. It has a fantastic subplot. The motivations are not contrived. They make sense. It is well done. But yeah, her character definitely breaks immersion because I have an 11-year-old and I'm telling you right now, ain't no way that 11-year-old, like, at no point, she doesn't even ever say that like she's hungry at any point. I'm telling you right now, an 11-year-old, oh yeah, an 11-year-old girl, definitely. gonna get hungry and is gonna definitely let you know it. But yeah, the one scene where they have food, they're eating spaghetti, and that's when the Alpha team shows up. So she gets like 2 bites of spaghetti, and that's it. And I'm like, man, she is operating on like no food, no sleep, no water. She hasn't had a mental breakdown. She hasn't complained that she's hungry. She hasn't done anything. She just goes with them and keeps up. And I'm like, nah, that's yes, Maka, exactly. Like, you have a nearly 11-year-old. I'm telling you right now, they're always eating. These kids, they eat all the time, everything. Like, and at no point does this child say that she's hungry. Like, at no point does this child say that she's tired. At no point does this child who has a severely sprained ankle say that it hurts too much to keep going. So she is operating under conditions that would make most grown men have to take a break. And she doesn't, I have witnessed grown men go like 3 days without food, 2 days without sleep, minimal water, and he had a broken hand. And he was just like, this fucking sucks. And I was like, yes, it does. I was like, can we please just go home? And, you know, like, that's just in a training situation. This is supposed to be a real life thing. And this 11-year-old kid says nothing. She's just the obedient little soldier, and she keeps up with a busted foot. I don't know how many of you ever sprained your ankle, but I am telling you right now, oh, that is one of the worst injuries you can possibly have, because you are practically useless. You can't do anything. It hurts. It hurts to walk. It hurts to sit. It hurts to lay down. It hurts to twist. You just like, ugh. I will never forget. I was 20 years old. I was like, you know, I was in the fleet. We're doing beach exercises, and my foot got caught between 2 rocks. And like an idiot, I tried to wrench that sucker free, and I swear to God, I thought I broke it. I thought I broke my ankle. I screamed so loud. I was in so much pain. Oh my gosh. It was freaking unbelievable. I was on crutches for 5 weeks. It was insane. And oh man, to this day, I can still, if I like turn my ankle just so, it will literally, where that injury happened, it'll pop. It still acts up. And like, among other injuries, but like that one was worse than when I broke my shoulder. Oh man, it was terrible. Good God. And here's this 11-year-old girl she's just roughing it, man. Doesn't change her clothes, doesn't shower, doesn't eat, doesn't drink, doesn't sleep, and she's just going. I'm like, good God, they should recruit her for the freaking Black Kite operations. Holy cow, she's a machine. Oh my God, yes, Maka, like the mood swings in those conditions. Adults would break under those conditions. Sleep deprivation is quite literally a torture tool for a reason. It is a torture mechanism. Starvation is a torture mechanism. Now, I'm pretty sure they're against the Geneva Conventions, but I'm just saying. Like, starvation, sleep deprivation, dehydration, those are all methods of torture for a reason. Okay? Your body is under so much, like, you could literally just be sitting in a room, but if you are starving to death, like, nobody has to break your bones, nobody has to threaten your life, nobody has to yank your hair, nobody has to waterboard you. You're literally, like, it is one of the worst forms of torture, like, imaginable, because you just slowly waste away. And it's just like, humans are not made to operate under those conditions well. Like, That's why you have to train to operate under those conditions. And this 11-year-old kid is just out there freaking doing it. Yeah, oh my gosh, she would be, that's what I'm saying. Like, through this whole movie, she's just kind of there. It's not like she's in shock. She's not listless. She doesn't have a concussion. She's just there. And I was just kind of bummed. And yeah, it just broke immersion because the conditions with which she had to operate under, she should have been way more of a liability. But I like, yeah, I'm just watching this movie and my theater was relatively full, actually. My theater was relatively full. But like, you know, hubby and I were talking about it and it's just like either her uncle was training her how to survive torture, which he clearly wasn't because he didn't even really teach her how to fire a weapon. He you know, didn't teach her how to hold a knife. Mason teaches her how to hold a knife. So on the one hand, you're supposed to believe that this girl, like, she's a very young, sweet, innocent girl who was in the wrong place at the wrong time. But then on the other hand, she's not just like surviving under inhumane conditions. She's thriving. She is like kicking ass, taking names, holding weapons on trained assassins and civilians. And I'm just like, who is this kid? Like, she really does need to go into the special forces because she is operating at a level that most men have to train years to operate at. It's wild. Getting my daughter out of bed for swimming lessons is a chore. Amen. Amen. Getting my children out of bed to do chores is a chore. Like, just, hey, get up, make your beds, brush your teeth, brush your hair, get your clothes on. Let's go, because, you know, we shower at night because, oh my gosh, if they showered in the morning, we would never make it anywhere. You know? Grab your lunches, grab your bags, feed the dogs, let's go. You would think that I was asking them to, I don't know, go out into the woods with, with just a hatchet and chop down a freaking 30-foot pine or something like that. It's insane. It's ridiculous, the effort involved to wake those children up. But God forbid, you know, one of their buddies calls and suddenly it's, hey, Mom, can I go here? Nope. Your bed is still not made. Oh, can I do it later? Nope. Is your homework done? I'll get it done. No. You're just quite literally, like, the answer is no. If you can't do the basic small stuff, like, why should you get to go do the fun stuff? You're not doing what is required of you, but you want to do the fun stuff without being a responsible young person. You just want to go. That's not how we operate. Hey-o. But, like, you know, it's just wild. I don't know very many 11-year-olds. Like, I love my nephew to death, but he burnt mac and cheese in the microwave because he didn't put enough water. Like, he just, like, stuck it under the sink, turned it on, turned it off, and put it in the microwave. And you know how it has that fill line? Yeah, he burnt the mac and cheese in the microwave. And this 11-year-old girl is keeping up with a trained operative assassin. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here, guys? This 11-year-old girl is, she's something else. Yeah, she's got to be undercover Delta operator. Oh, yeah. SAS, you are correct. The only thing I found that works is a threat of no screen time. We don't do screen time during the week. Kiddos get 90 minutes on Saturday. And then if we have like a family movie night or something like that, we'll make an exception. But our kids, none of our kids have phones. They don't have tablets. They don't have iPads. They don't have anything. We have my computer and my husband's computer, and like my computer is, where we can see it. So yeah, our kids do not have screen time. They don't have screens, no phones, no nothing. And we're better for it. I'm telling you though, my youngest has learned the power of the puppy dog face. It quite literally convinced her uncle to give her Park Place in Monopoly, because I kid you not. So my brother-in-law, my sister and my brother-in-law, they only have boys. They don't have girls too. They've only got boys. So he only has nieces. And boy, oh boy, I tell you what, when she looks up at him and she goes, "Don't you love me anymore?" I swear, like that. My husband and my brother-in-law are just like, oh my gosh, powerless to the puppy dog face. She's, "Don't you love me anymore?" And he's like, take it all here. And I was just like, man, I need to learn that trick. And then my brother-in-law looks at me and he goes, "You're not that cute." I was like, listen here, dude. So yeah, I think, being around all the boys all the time. I mean, obviously my sister's there, but like not having any daughters of his own. Oh, his niece is kryptonite, let me tell you. But yeah, it was fun. But she was just, again, yeah, she broke that immersion for me. And I think that, on top of the fact that this was not a normal Jason Statham film, it's it wasn't what I was expecting. And it's not a bad thing, but it's not a good thing either. Listen, if it ain't broke, stop breaking it. You know what I mean? But again, I think even if they wanted to change, if they had wanted to change the formula, it could have worked if she was more human. Like more, if she was a real 11-year-old child. But yeah, this girl, she never complained. She never cried. She never begged. She never had any emotion. She had no mood swings. She did exactly what she was told, when she was told, how she was told. And I'm just sitting there and I was like, this is the least believable character I have seen in a long time, because I have an 11-year-old, and that 11-year-old is no. It's just no. But again, that being said, it is a good movie. Oh, like, it's a 3 out of 5. It's nothing to write home about. Like, it doesn't break the bank, or break the bank. I guess, it's not awful, but it is not his best, for sure. I would still say go see it, because it's a heck of a lot better than pretty much everything else in the theater right now. Zootopia 2 was awful. The other films that are in, The Two Towers Extended Edition will be in theaters next weekend, I think. Definitely gonna go to that. What else is in theaters? The stupid Housemaid movie is still in theaters with Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried, and Amanda Seyfried is a psycho. No intention to see that. Avatar is still in theaters. That's a terrible freaking movie. There's this movie called Iron Lung. It's a horror movie. Horror's not my bag, so I can't say one way or another on that. I didn't actually hear about it till I went to the theater and saw the poster. Yeah, I think that's pretty much I think it's pretty much it for like what's in theaters this weekend. So this movie is way better than all of that. And it is still a good movie. Maka, I would say if you wanted to, you definitely could. But this isn't a waste of time or money, for sure. But I will, like I said at the beginning, this is probably the first Statham movie that I'm not going to go rewatch in theaters and wait for the DVD. I've seen it. I'm glad I saw it in theaters. It was a well put together movie. It was pretty good. But it is not his best. So yeah, I am looking forward to his next movie. I wonder if they'll go back to normal Jason Statham formula. I hope they do. And I hope they get a kid who is like a normal kid, because once again, no 11-year-old I know is going to go 4 days without saying something about being hungry or tired or cold or thirsty. I never saw this girl drink water. I never saw her drink water. Like, ever. At the very end, she's sitting in a coffee shop in Spain and she's drinking a coffee or a tea or something. But I never saw that girl drink water. She's not human. She is not human. But that being said, give it a shot. Maybe you guys will like it better than me. See if you guys, I would actually love some feedback on this one. If you guys are noticing kind of the same thing I noticed, like the like, did the formula change? Is it just me? Am I just like, am I being nitpicky when it comes to the girl, or is she like legitimately just inhuman? Like an inhuman portrayal of 11-year-old in this movie. So yeah, I would actually really love to know what you guys think. It could be could very much be worth it for sure. And I don't know how many more of these Statham's gonna make, because he's almost 60, I think. And gosh. I don't know. I think I'm going to go rewatch Meg. I know that it's basically just a ripoff of Jaws on crack. But I really love that freaking movie. Working was great. I'm trying to think some of the stuff that I've really loved of his. I actually liked Hobbs and Shaw. With I can't even think of the guy's name. The Rock. Good Lord. I actually liked Hobbs and Shaw quite a bit for him, because of him. Not really because again, The Rock was just kind of, The Rock is also very much, he just plays The Rock. Whereas Jason Statham doesn't play Jason Statham. He just plays a very masculine role. Mechanic is also, I'm trying to think. I'm going to have to do like a Jason Statham top 10, I think. I don't think I'm going to have to do that. But yeah, I know he's about to be 60, or he's close to, he's got to be like, he was I think he's like 58, 59. So he's getting up there. But I don't know. I remember seeing him in The Italian Job and Transporter and just being like, man, that's awesome. And then Death Race was really good. I liked Death Race. I don't care what people say. I liked him in Revolver. Crank was just like insane. I didn't mind Crank, but I was like, meh, take it or leave it. I really liked Mechanic. I really liked Safe. It's funny, he has a movie named Shelter and he has a movie named Safe. Oh yeah, Snatch. That's a good one too. The Expendables is really good. The first one is the best by far. I liked him in Homefront. He's been in a lot of movies, actually. Wrath of Man was, I think, yeah, I'm gonna definitely have to do. I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to do like a top 10 of Jason Statham. For sure. And I know he's got another one coming out later this year. I think it's called Mutiny. I want to say it's called Mutiny. I know it's supposed to come out in the summer. And I know that he's being framed for a crime he didn't commit. I saw like a, not a trailer, but like, you know how on like Instagram and X and stuff, like ads will pop up and there'll be like a 10-second ad or whatever. I saw one. I just can't remember the name, but I know he's got another movie coming out this year and he's been framed for a murder. And then Beekeeper 2 comes out next year, and I liked the first Beekeeper, not as much as Working Man, but I did like the first Beekeeper. So he's got some more movies coming out, but yeah, he's pushing 60. So I don't know. He's probably not going to be dangling from skyscrapers and jumping out of planes and free diving in the ocean for very much longer. But I'm glad that he's still very fit. He's still very active. He is probably, I guess he would be the epitome of like, it like age is just a number. But, yeah, I don't know. It's good. So, yeah, probably keep an eye out on a video for with I guess Statham top 10 or whatever. I think that'd be good. But 3 out of 5, definitely not a waste of time. But I'm looking forward to the next one. It'll be good. And we'll see if he goes back to the formula that works or if he's going to stick with this one. So, if you guys go see it, let me know what you think. Hopefully, I know this was pretty spoiler heavy. I tend to do that, but it's, again, not a bad film. I really wish they had done more with the Thea angle. Maybe we'll get more of that later in like a different film or something. So, chat, I appreciate every single one of you. As always, you remain undefeated. You are undefeated. And so shall you remain. As always, God bless, Godspeed. Have a wonderful night. Much love. Bye.